Yeah, what is going on, everybody? It is yours truly, the Ace, back with another Behind the Teams, episode 6, season 2, Jacksonville Jaguars. Dante from East Coast Gridiron is in the building. Appreciate you for coming on, man. How you doing today?
Yeah, big boss. Appreciate you invite me onto this. If anybody's ever seen our content in the Jaguars, it's like I'm like the most hated fan because I'm real. So I ain't gonna have a lot of positive things to say, but there are some positives in the Jaguars. But overall, I don't like the direction of this, the way our team is going. So you gonna get a feel for that today.
Okay, and we're going to talk about it. Yeah, definitely. A lot of people, especially on these behind the teams, have a lot of conflicting opinions, but I love it. I'm all for it as long as everybody,
Yeah,
keeps it respectful. At the end of the day, you can have difference of opinions. And before we get started, like I said, first time meeting you, linked up through my guy Max Covers TV. Just want to give
yeah.
him a
Shout out to
quick
Max.
shout out. He's a good dude over there. Excited to talk Jags with you. So last year, the 2023 Jacksonville Jaguars, 9-8, second in the AFC South. What were your thoughts overall on the 2023 season?
The beginning looked promising, and then we all know the collapse that happened at the end of the season. I think we lost what 4 of the last 5 games, and we just need to win one more to be number one and get into the playoffs. But yeah, man, it's disappointing, man, and it's not like you never get used to being disappointed. I mean, some fans are just they get completely checked out, but I know the highest of highs, like with the not the Jaguars, but the Florida State Seminoles. That's my other team. It's like I understand what it's like to get to the promised land, but you know, when things like in the off season, Trevor Lawrence being the highest paid, tied with the highest paid quarterback and things like that, then
Mm-hmm.
you look at our 9-8 season that's not making the playoffs. It's like, what are we doing? That's the first question that comes to mind. I don't know, man. I'm ever since I've been a fan of this team since '95. The '95 days with the Mark Brunell and Fred Taylor came into the mix, and Kenny McCardell and Jimmy Smith, the Donovan Dariuses of the world, like,
Maurice
and then
Jones-Drew, yeah.
Maurice Jones-Drew in the early 2000s, and then you lead to the most recently in like 2017, having Saxonville and all those guys, like we just never do ourselves any favor when we have really good teams. I don't know what it is. Like, we came into the league with the Carolina Panthers, and the Panthers have already been to 2 Super Bowls.
Mm. I
You know what
mean,
I'm saying?
they haven't won it though, but yeah.
Still, they got there. The only thing that we can hold a candle to is being in the 2 AFC championship games. I mean, the history of us is it hasn't been good,
Yeah.
So, I mean, last year is just a culmination of that. It's just more mediocrity and us awarding mediocrity to
Mm-hmm.
players that don't, I don't think deserve it. I'm wearing a Trevor Lawrence jersey, by the way, because this was a gift. I'm not a Trevor Lawrence fan.
Mm.
I just came for the occasion. You put the
Yeah.
Christmas tree up on Christmas. I come on to talk about the Jaguars. I'm the Christmas tree for the Jaguars. So
Yeah. All right. Well, since we're on that topic of Trevor Lawrence, what do you think about his big payday? You had alluded to it a little bit earlier. Dive a little bit more into it.
yeah, man. I knew he was gonna get about 50 mil a year. That I was telling everybody that. I said I'd be very surprised if he gets anything lower than that. If he does, then good on him. Good on the Jaguars for not giving him that much money. But the Jaguars slapped me right in the face and said, "No, we're gonna do 55 a year."
Mm.
And now he's tied with the highest paid player in the league, or the highest paid quarterback in the league. So it's like, again, what are we doing? We're awarding mediocrity. I compared the stats earlier this year because I saw a graphic that came out about Gardner Minshew. So I went back and I did my research. I said, let's see all the quarterbacks that had the same success. So in the first 3 years, Blake Bortles has had pretty much the same season as Trevor Lawrence, but got us to an AFC Championship game, like I told you about, with Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns as his receivers.
Mhm.
And then I look at Trevor Lawrence, who's had Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram has had 2 of his best years ever. It was his 2 best years ever with us. Still being consistent. Travis Etienne has had a 1,400-yard season in 2 years and didn't get a payday. You know what I'm saying? We got Andre
Calvin
Cisco and Tyson
Calvin
Camp.
Ridley was in the mix too. Calvin
Oh
Ridley was
yeah,
in the mix too.
Calvin Ridley. I wasn't a big fan of picking him up because it's like you're taking a huge gamble on this guy like not being available or doing something stupid again. But the 2 years that he was there, he was consistent. And now, why we didn't bring him back, I have no idea. Now he's on the Titans and he's going to absolutely go nuts down there. Um, but yeah, I mean, when I look at the whole picture, man, not only from his contract to the new stadium that we're thinking about building, it's like we are just rewarding not only the city with mediocrity. It's like these things are not earned. And it really bothers me. Like Trevor Lawrence's contract is not earned. We've made an excuse every year that he's been in the league. But Justin Herbert, who's outperformed a lot of the quarterbacks throughout the league, people tend to say that he's trash, but he's had the one of the worst coaches ever in NFL history, and he's still putting up the numbers. So it's like, how can you compare the two situations? Like, I understand why Justin Herbert got paid, but I don't understand why Trevor Lawrence got the payday that he paid, that he got. Um, but yeah, man, it's definitely a head scratch. I was pissed off that day. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Like, why everybody was cheering, like, yeah, he deserves it. I'm real, man. I'm never gonna sit here and meat ride for my teams. That's not what I do. But I think the realest of fans are the ones that can be critical of the decisions that get made and don't want to accept mediocrity for years. And that contract, you're just awarding mediocrity, and you just told the whole league that we're okay with that. We're okay with him just being okay. This is a guy that the last time we said a generational quarterback came into the league was who? Andrew Luck.
Mm-hmm.
Is he anywhere near Andrew Luck's status? Hell no. And if you said that he is, I had to quickly question your football IQ
Yeah.
as a whole.
He's not. He's not up there with Andrew Jones. I mean Andrew Jones. That's a baseball player. Andrew Luck. Definitely not there. I'm gonna throw something at you that I'm sure that you've seen that'll just add to your frustration. He has numbers very comparable to Daniel Jones from the Giants. Like
Yeah.
they pulled up those stats and on like a blind ranking, and Daniel Jones' numbers are really good. I'm not really good, are really close to Trevor Lawrence. So is that really a guy that you really want a comparison to? Like, trust me, as a Daniel Jones guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's on my team. You got to support him, but he looks terrible. And, Trevor Lawrence is really close.
Yeah, I mean, Mac Jones, too, who's on our team. His numbers are really close to Trevor Lawrence. I'll tell you what, I'd rather have Daniel Jones on my team than Trevor Lawrence. I'm a Daniel Jones guy. I just think through and through, the throws that he can make, and I'm a big film watcher. I mean, the throws that he can make are magnificent. It could be some of the best in the league. Like that outside, that back shoulder, outside the number comeback route. That's a hard, I play quarterback. I coach quarterbacks. Like, I was a former high school coach for several years. That's a difficult ass throw to make, and Daniel Jones can hit them shits on the dime. Yeah. Now, on the other side of that, got to look at the consistency of weapons that's been around him and the team that the Giants continuously, never try to put around.
Yeah,
it's been you throw in the garbage cans. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying any of those receivers are garbage, but when you come out of there saying that Darius Slayton, who's a number 2 or number 3 receiver on any team in the NFL, he's not a true number 1. So, but we got a true number 1 in Christian Kirk, and then we lined him up with another one with Calvin Ridley, and then we bring Evan Ingram in from your guys' team, hoping that he could be, at his best ability, and he's gave us his best. And then Travis Etienne being a 1,400-yard running back, in collective yardage. You guys have had Saquon Barkley, who's been like, who was like that, and then it just was with injuries. Nobody's questioning his talent, but just it's nothing consistent. And we can't even compare offensive lines. Like, offensive line with the Jaguars far exceeds the Giants.
Last place almost every time. Yeah.
But when we talk about it like that, right, and compare situations, that's even worse for Trevor Lawrence. You know what I'm saying? Like, overall.
I'm going to tell you this. You speak in my language, right? Because I say this all the time. I'm not the only Giants content creator to say this either. I said if you put Daniel Jones in the Eagles, he's just as good as Jalen Hurts. I've said that shit because, like, dude, they're
talk your talk, man. It's true.
It's about it's more than just what you see. Like, if you have a team that has the number 1 offensive line, number 1 receivers, a top defense, you should be good. Giants haven't had that. The Jaguars haven't had that either. So it's like, but these quarterbacks, they're not going to get looked on like other quarterbacks because the team around them is good. You know what I'm saying? So
We could
Trevor
have
Lawrence.
used so much more than a Brian Thomas Jr. on our squad right now in the draft. And what that told me was we don't care about anything else other than just being another scapegoat wide receiver for Trevor Lawrence. Do you think Daniel Jones ever got that treatment with the Giants? You're going to go get Jalen Hyatt, who's nothing but a downfield threat. And I pull this stat out for Giants fans when they want to talk crap about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones threw 4 perfect balls. I think it was passes past 45 yards. Jalen Hyatt got 4 of those and he dropped them.
Yeah.
And that's 4 touchdowns off the board. And then you pull that out and they're like, well, he was a rookie. No. Nah, you can't backpedal now. He's a Bolitnikov winner. Like, I mean, Cedric Tillman, if he was healthy at Tennessee, would have been a Bolitnikov winner. But neither here nor there. Like, Jalen Hyatt won the award because he was that downfield threat. And you drop passes, there's nobody around you, bro. Like, there's no excuse for that. Yeah. But, yeah, man, I mean, I feel your pain, but keep talking your shit because if he has consistent weapons this year, and I don't know if you've seen my man Daniel Jones working out in the offseason. He worked with, I forget that quarterback coach's name. He's been down in Alabama working with them, and I heard that he's been hanging out with the Mannings like a lot this offseason too, trying to get Arch right and trying to get himself right. So, like, he might be a different breed, bro. Because, I mean, you just take away Saquon from him. And pretty much everybody after that year when you got 3 major injuries and you got hurt again, now he's got all of the media and everything. You think he don't hear all of that?
Oh, of course. See, the biggest thing, and this isn't a Giants video, but the biggest thing is just like, and I'm keeping all this shit in here, by the way. This is a great conversation. Yeah. The biggest thing is just the personnel that you put around them. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have and this goes for everybody, when you have so much changeover, you're not going to, how can you expect consistency? You know what I'm saying? Daniel Jones had multiple different, coaches.
So what? 2 different coaches, 3 different offense coordinators, or something like that.
Shermer, Judge, and Dable. Out the gate. You know what I'm saying? So, but I mean, okay. Let me ask you something to track back to the Jaguars. So do you think Trevor Lawrence is a franchise quarterback?
Yeah, but we got to tailor our expectations to what he actually is, which to me, in all accounts, if I had to compare it to a quarterback, he's Alex Smith. I mean,
game manager. That's not necessarily a bad thing, though.
It's not.
You got to have the right things around you to succeed, though. With that, if you're going to be Alex Smith.
But Alex Smith out of college, I mean, everybody thought he was the shit at Utah. I mean, I get it, but he never got generational put on his name. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we got to call the ball a strike a strike. When I was waving the flag that I thought that Trevor was going to be okay, I wanted Justin Fields. That's who I wanted. I wanted him for 2 years. We tanked 2 years for mediocrity. 2 9-8 seasons in a row. Let me ask you something. And this will put everything in perspective of how I feel. Because I've asked a couple of different people this, and it's hard for them not to agree. On Monday morning of the Chargers game in 2022 in the playoffs, he almost threw 5 picks. He threw 4. Kyle Van Noy dropped another one. He dumped it off to Travis Etienne for like a 20-yard run, and Riley Patterson kicked the field goal, and we won the game. There was no praise for Travis Etienne. Or there was no kickback for the Chargers with Brandon Staley for not running the ball in the second half when they could have kicked our ass. So with the 4 picks that happened and the 5 picks that probably could have happened, on Monday morning people were praising Trevor Lawrence. Now let's go down the list of quarterbacks. Do you think Jalen Hurts gets that treatment?
No.
Fuck no.
No.
And start going down the list of quarterbacks in your head.
It's because he's a first overall. It's because he's a first round pick. You know what I'm saying? That's why.
And the media does not want to be wrong.
Exactly.
So
first round picks will get more leash than second round picks and even mid round first round picks. When you're picked at the top of the draft, they'll give you more cushion. Like it's gonna be the same thing with Caleb Williams. If Caleb Williams comes out and struggle, they'll give him more leeway than they'll give like a JJ McCarthy. You know what I'm saying? Like we talked about JJ McCarthy. I've seen him dump shit off and he's looking terrible in camp, and they're ripping him. But I've seen Caleb Williams just throw something lob, and even his receivers are like, holy shit, you can't throw that. Like they're gonna give him more leeway. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely practice players and there's definitely game players. Like, I'm part of the media, so I get to go to the Senior Bowl and things like that. I've been to the Senior Bowl twice in the last 2 years. And one thing that I can say, and this goes along with anybody, like, this offseason, the highlights are going to come out. People are going to say what they're going to say, blah, 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 blah. So always take everything with a grain of salt. But, like, Bo Nix, I'm a big fan of Bo Nix. Like, when everybody else was dogging him, he was my number one quarterback through and through in this year's draft. I watched the film, and I watched so much tape on him, man, that I was trying to find something bad that I didn't like. And I just didn't see it. I'm like, what is everybody talking about? And he gets to practice in the Senior Bowl, and he doesn't do well. Then he's practicing at the beginning of mini camp, and Zach Wilson is looking a little better. But I don't care, because in the games, he's the shit.
Yeah.
Like, how do you throw 4,500 yards and 45 touchdowns if you suck? It's no, you know what I'm saying? Or how do you get that much yards if you're just a dump-off quarterback? You don't. It was only like 300 yards or something off of his screen passes. But, just to dial it back, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the type of stuff that, like, I look at and I analyze, and I'm like, Trevor Lawrence was never like those guys. Trevor Lawrence never put up those stats in college. And, I mean, yeah, it's different in the NFL, but, like, there's basis to everything. You don't go to if you get a new job and you show your resume, the people at that new job are basing it off of what your previous work is. Yeah. They're not bringing you in and like, oh, prove it. You know what I'm saying? So as people in the media and in doing podcasts and stuff like us, this is what we judge players off of. Like, what have you done for me lately? I don't judge you off of practice. I judge you off what you do in games. So, we can F all that noise. That dude is just, the media does not want to be wrong about Trevor Lawrence. And I was the only one waving that flag, man. You can go all the way back through our videos. People are like, you don't know how to evaluate quarterbacks. You suck. I had this one guy tell me, you're never going to be more wrong about a player in your life than knowing, Trevor Lawrence is going to be generational. Bro, pull up Andrew Luck's stats and pull up and records and pull up Trevor Lawrence. Tell me which one was generational.
Yeah.
And he had no pressure. He had no pressure, man. How do you have no pressure coming into the league and you do this bad? Andrew Luck had to fill in for Peyton Manning, bro.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, people can F all that noise about Trevor Lawrence.
So since you tell us how you really feel about Trevor Lawrence, let's go into the offseason, right?
Yeah.
So going into this 2024 offseason, what do you feel like was the biggest need for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and do you feel like they addressed it via draft and via free agency?
I just think we need depth, and we need people that are going to challenge our players. I know that's kind of like me avoiding kind of the question a little bit, but I'll explain where I'm coming from with that. We have Travis Etienne, who's in our backfield. Tank Bixby, Darius Johnson, Keelan Robinson. Nobody knows who those guys are, and Tank Bixby proved to you last year that he's not ready for the spotlight to even be the number 2 running back. Great career at Auburn. I didn't want him when we drafted him. I want a big bruising, type of running back that's going to be behind Travis Etienne to help him out on third down. That's not Travis Etienne's game. He's like mini Christian McCaffrey. I'm not saying that he is Christian McCaffrey, but that's like his skill set. Like, he's that gadget type of guy. But one thing that Christian McCaffrey can do is bruise you on third down, and that's not what Travis Etienne does. So we didn't help him out. The best move that we made in the offseason, man, for me was Mac Jones. And here's why. And people laugh until I explain it.
I was
like
about
this.
to laugh. I was just about to laugh. Yeah, go ahead.
Who's been Trevor Lawrence's quarterbacks that you can name?
Trevor Lawrence's quarterbacks?
Yeah, they're like that are in that quarterback room with him. Can you name any?
I mean, I said Daniel Jones is in there. I mean, you had said Mac Jones earlier. So, I mean, around that, yeah.
Yeah, so C.J. Beathard has been there. Is C.J. Beathard moving the needle for Trevor Lawrence in any way?
No.
Fuck no. And what that's been telling Jacksonville Jaguars when they drafted him is, Trevor, you're the guy. Go back and look at any deep positional room until they become superstars, or even when they are superstars. Like, let's go back and look at Tom Brady. You remember when he had, what's his name, Jacoby Brissett, and he had homie that went to go play with the Chiefs in that same quarterback room. Those
Yeah.
two guys were starters at other teams because they came in there. You can say what Tom Brady can say what he wants, but they won 4 games before he came back in the fold, and they won starting jobs in the offseason for other teams.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence has not been threatened. So what
Yeah.
they did is they brought in Mac Jones, who stats is comparable to him, came from the Bill Belichick type of system, dealt with adversity, been benched several times, and knows what it's like to be in a competitive quarterback room. Regardless of what people want to say about Bailey Zappi, like those dudes were competing against each other like all the time. So now you have that guy that has nothing to lose that's coming into the quarterback room. That if Trevor Lawrence goes down, Mac Jones might step up into that spot, and he's used to doing that and coming out and pulling out games too. So now we have a competent quarterback in our quarterback room that's able to put pressure on Trevor Lawrence. And if he's going to be, he's either going to elevate from that or he's going to be more mediocre because he's going to be mad that somebody got brought in from his same exact draft class that's actually challenging him, at the fold. I think Trevor Lawrence is a nice guy, but like the best teams have competitive rooms. So that just goes to 2 positional rooms right there that one improved, one stayed mediocre. Then we went and got Gabe Davis. He's not moving the needle. I'd rather have had Calvin Ridley. It just is what it is. Tim Jones has been hurt. When we went and picked up Brian Thomas Jr., Parker Washington from Penn State is in the same wide receiving room. Why are we not developing him? Why? Just why? Like, Parker Washington played with Sean Clifford at Penn State.
Yeah.
And so, to me, if you watched him play in college, he's a really good wide receiver, and I was actually excited when we drafted him. Brian Thomas Jr. just came in and superseded 2 guys on the depth chart that are really good wide receivers. So we don't want to develop inside. Evan Ingram, we go and get Brenton Strange last year, who was supposed to come in and people can say what they want. I think Evan Ingram was on a 1-year rental until we got Brenton Strange, and he didn't step up. So now we're forced to keep him because he's had 2 amazing years. But that threatened Evan Ingram, and you can't tell me that didn't elevate his game, bringing a young guy in that they knew that they wanted to replace him. Offensive line is good. I mean, Cam Robinson, I think he's overrated. We traded for Ezra Cleveland last year. Mitch Morse, we brought him in. Brandon Scherf has not been what he was when he was with Washington. Anton Harrison, I wasn't a big fan of that draft pick, and he was just mid. But then we go to the defensive side of the ball, right? Like Eric Armstead moves the needle. Definitely moves the needle. Brought him in from San Francisco. He's going to be great on that defensive line. And he's going to be a great asset to Josh Allen, who just got a payday. And we did right by him. Like Josh Allen getting paid was great. But then I look at the linebacker room. Like we need one more bona fide linebacker. Like Devin Lloyd, I think is going to move the needle this year. Foye Oluokun is one of the best linebackers in the league, always putting up 100 plus, 140, 150 tackles a year, but there's nobody else outside of him. Trayvon Walker had the best combine of all time. He was like ranked like number 20 to get picked, and after the combine, he shot to number 1, and we drafted him and drank the Kool-Aid. Yeah, he's not going to move the needle for us. And then we bring in, so then you go, and then here's the downfall. Ronald Darby. I'm a Florida State fan. But Ronald Darby is cooked, man. He's not moving the needle for us. Andre Sisco has nobody that moves the needle for him. Tyson Campbell, you get rid of, what's his name? He's not getting the needle moved in that cornerback room. And I mean, Logan Cook can't kick a damn coffin corner punt anything in the league. So we've changed place kickers 5,000 times. We brought Riley Patterson back in. Like, we're just all over the place, man. And I just pretty much went through the full roster, but like that's the way our offseason went. But here's the one thing that drove me crazy during the draft. Mm-hmm. We drafted 2 guys from LSU, Jordan Jefferson and Mason Smith.
Yep. They
weren't even the best linemen at LSU. Mekhi Wingo was still on the board, and we decided to draft them too. Make it make sense. Make it make sense to me. We were talking about Mekhi Wingo for 2 years straight of how good of a defensive lineman he was. And you draft Mason Smith first, and then you go and get Jordan Jefferson. With Mekhi Wingo still on the board. When we went and picked up Jordan Jefferson, I'm like, we're not moving the needle at all. I hope those guys do well. I hope every single new player, even JJ McCarthy, I hope these guys do well because it makes the league better and it gives us better conversations moving forward. But if I'm being critical to my team, man, those are the pieces of the puzzle that like are just not fitting. Like right now, we have Justin Simmons sitting in free agency, ready to be picked up by somebody. One of the best safeties in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we not going out there and dumping all the money that we can to bring him in as a solid, strong safety? With Andre Sisco, not moving the needle, man. We're worried about new stadiums and new facilities. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah, you sound fed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sound like a fed up Jags fan. To backtrack to what you were saying as far as the quarterback room, because I had actually misunderstood what you were saying. So
Yeah.
when you were referring to the quarterback draft room, you know what I'm saying, as far as the quarterback rooms you were talking about, I thought you were talking about comparable to everybody else around the league, like where is he at? But you were actually saying he has nobody that challenges him. Gardner Minshew was there the year before. You know what I'm
And
saying?
I
They let him
wanted
go to
Gardner
Philly.
Minshew. I wanted Gardner Minshew to stay. To this day, I think Gardner Minshew should have been our starter.
Yeah.
I really do. To bench him after that Texas game, after one game, ruined his total mentality. Instead of like people in the NFL they don't want to. They I don't know, man. They want overnight success. We don't go back to the days where we're building teams. Like perfect
Oh, yeah.
example, like Andy Reid when he got to the Chiefs, he knew he was going to have to build them up. And
Yeah.
how many Super Bowls have they won? They've been to 4, 1, 3
Yeah.
since he's been there.
And that's what we were talking about earlier as far as the Alex Smith type. It's okay to have a quarterback like the Alex Smith type, but the Patrick Mahomes will get you to the next level because Alex Smith had the same guys that Mahomes did, but Mahomes got the best of them. You know what I'm saying? Travis Kelsey, Tyreek Hill were there, but he got the best out of those two players. You need a quarterback that can bring out the best in the people around him. A good quarterback, in my opinion, is someone that elevates the talent around them. You know what I'm saying? Like you talking about you're a Daniel Jones guy, right? What I saw last year from Tommy DeVito might not have been the guy, but he kind of proved to me that Daniel Jones might not be the guy either because you're having an undrafted rookie come out and have success. And Daniel Jones is still struggling, you know what I'm saying, with the same things around him. That's what a good quarterback can bring out the best of the personnel around him. Like Mahomes, we saw Mahomes. Mahomes always had, good coaching talent around him. But when he had a bad offensive line in that Super Bowl, he was still getting the best out of them, even though he was on the run the entire time. Like, do I think Trevor Lawrence has that ability? I don't necessarily think so. I think he has to have the right things around him to elevate. Now, if you were to put Trevor Lawrence on the 49ers, I think he has some success. You know what I'm saying? But that's because the team around him is equipped. Like, as far as you were talking about, you have to build a good, solid team. I was having this debate with people, with my cousin and friend the other day, as far as how valuable a running back is. And the good teams like the 49ers and like the Eagles can go out and get a good running back, you know what I'm saying, to kind of put them over that level. But Giants weren't getting the most with Saquon Barkley. You know what I'm saying? Like we were averaging 15 points a game. He was our entire offense. It didn't work.
Yeah.
You got to let him
Yeah.
go. So building a good team is all about every aspect. In my opinion, offensive and defensive line is where it starts, in my opinion. You need a good defensive line. You need a good offensive line. And you kind of build around that with a good quarterback. You need a good quarterback. You need a good left tackle. You need good edge rushers. Those are the three most important positions to me. And you have to legit put good team. You have to have a good team around a good quarterback in order for him to succeed.
Yeah, that is true. And the only reason I would say this, and they're in our division, the only reason the Texans didn't win the Super Bowl last year was because of youth.
Mm-hmm.
That's
experience.
it.
I agree.
Experience. That's it. I mean, they're going to do if, of course, they got a lot of people in their second year, like C.J. Stroud, Tank Dell. But if D'Amico Ryans could keep that same coaching and that same just aura about that team, they're going to be the most dangerous team in the NFL that's going to fly under the radar the whole year until they get to the Super Bowl. And the people are going to be like, what the hell is going on? I mean, they even got the Ravens beating youth. Like, they got enough youth to be a little bit faster than what the Ravens have on defense. Like, and everybody knows that Ravens defense is nasty, but that, I look at that type of stuff too. And I always ask myself this to go back to the quarterback situation. Like, I always hard pressed to ask this question about Trevor Lawrence too, is If you were to switch him and Justin Fields in their last couple years in the situations that they've been in, does Justin Fields with the Jaguars win more games or lose more games?
The what if is hard to do because like that Bears team was bad. I like Ryan Poles. I was all for Ryan Poles. I'm a big supporter of him, especially because
Hmm.
the Giants were interviewing him as well. I think I like what he's doing up there. Um, I think because you guys played in the worst division at the time too, it definitely bodes well for that. Because I mean, the Texans, like you had said to your point, they're on the rise. They're in a position where they're about to be buyers.
All
Like they
three of
got
the other
Stephon
teams
Diggs.
are.
I'm still not sold on the Titans. I'm really not. Because I just I'm not sold on the Titans.
It goes
You
through Will Levis,
yeah.
and Will Levis, what he's been doing in the offseason, you haven't heard shit from Will Levis. Like, he's totally taking himself out the media.
Hmm.
He's been working his ass off this offseason. I'm actually scared of what he's going to be capable of because he's got the talent. Wasn't a big, huge fan of his, but, like, my God, if he just puts it all together mentally, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because the Titans' defense is all right, and they've always flown under the radar. They've always been all right.
Yeah, we
But,
just
I
got
mean,
one, we got one of the Titans defense coordinators. So it's like, yeah, I know exactly what that is.
it,
Here's the difference between you guys and the Texans. You guys just you kind of have to take advantage of your quarterback's rookie contract. Meaning when you first get yourself a top tier quarterback,
mhm.
that's when you need to build the team around them because once they get paid, you're now handcuffed with a huge salary. CJ Stroud is on a rookie deal, so they could afford to make all these big moves like go out and get Stephon Diggs, go out and get this guy because he's on a rookie contract. You guys, I think, because you just paid
and,
Trevor Lawrence a lot, are going to be more handcuffed than they are.
and they're getting something that a lot of teams don't have as well is like like the Texans for example has got a CJ Stroud who is hungry and
Mm-hmm.
never gotten to the promised land in college, and he's carried that over, and the team listened to him by getting a Tank Dell who's
Yep.
from who's one of his best friends, and now they're playing on the team. Like, say what you want about the Eagles when they went and got AJ Brown for Jalen Hurts. You know what I'm saying? You can obviously see they got a relationship. It's just the GMs have got to listen to the coaches too, man. And I don't think Trent Baalke listens to Doug Peterson like Doug Peterson wants to listen to Trent Baalke.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're on the same page because if you watch our draft, we were like every single time we chose somebody, Doug Peterson didn't look too excited.
Mm.
He was just like, okay, I guess let's go get Brian Thomas Jr. to be another scapegoat instead of doing what he's supposed to be doing as a player, which is elevating our team without all the weapons around. It's crazy, man. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
All right, so that leads me to my next question. Because we've kind of this is great conversation. We're kind of just going all over the place, which is absolutely
All
incredible
good.
too. Give me your impact player for the Jaguars for the 2024 season.
That is a good question, man. I think that there's really two players. I don't want to name our superstar player like Josh Allen because I think he got paid and he's going to continue to do what he's going to do. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was more that he wasn't really screaming for money, but it was one of those things where it's like you gotta do the right thing, and he got paid, so now he's going to feel comfortable. But I'll give you two. I'll give you one from the offense and one from the defense. Impact player Evan Ingram again this year. I just I've liked him since the Giants. I mean, he's had his drop issues and his injury
Oof.
issues and stuff like that. But I know you guys were like, damn, man, if he wasn't so injured, or damn, if he would have caught that one pass on third down, he would be
Yeah,
a
because he's
top 10
dynamic.
guy.
He's dynamic. You know what I'm saying? Like he's faster than the linebackers, just as fast as a wide receiver. His hands have always been a problem. I've seen him drop, dude. And like I said, being a Giants fan, I've seen it all the time, where
Yeah.
the interceptions go on Daniel Jones, but they're really on Evan Ingram. Like they're hitting you in
Facts.
in the hands, but meanwhile Daniel Jones is getting an interception. People are like Daniel Jones sucks. Why? Because Evan Ingram got hit right here. Like, come on, man. But
Yeah.
we've also seen sparks where he catches the ball on a slant and he's gone. You know what I'm saying? So I can agree with that. He's a
Some
dynamic
people
player
don't
for you
have
guys.
him. Some people don't have him in their top 10 tight ends, and I'm like, you're absolutely crazy. I mean, he might not be top 5 yet,
10,
but
yes, 5, no.
he's getting damn close. To
Hmm.
be honest, just by numbers wise. And the best thing that the Giants did for him was ship him out. Because,
Yeah.
again, pressure makes diamonds, man.
Yep.
You got all that crap talked about you, the injuries hanging over your head. Now you got a brand new quarterback that you came in with trying to elevate him. He needs to do it again.
Yep.
He needs to do it again. And I think if he puts up a year like he had this year, because I think like the Dallas Goddard's going to start dropping, and Mark Ingram, he's going to start dropping down, and then you're going to have Isaiah Likely come and fill in for him. Evan Ingram has the best path to become a top 5 tight end this year if he has another year like he did last year. I don't
I'm
think
looking
there
at
was
his
any question.
age. He's going to be 30. I'm looking at his age. He's going to be 30 this year, which isn't, it's not terrible. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a running back shelf life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He could play for a couple more years. But, yeah, I mean, I could agree with you as far as a dynamic weapon who's a mismatch out there.
yeah. And to see what he can do for our young guys, too. Like, if you're able to elevate Brenton Strange to being your replacement, this might be his last year with us. We never know. He might want to hit the free agency market and test something else out or, whatever it is. But is he able to bring in Brenton Strange like Mark Andrews is able to bring in Isaiah Likely? I mean, all that stuff matters in being an impact player at the end of the day. So the other one is Devin Lloyd. I know I talked about him a little earlier. I loved him out of Utah. That was one of my favorite draft picks when they got him and Chad Muma. Chad Muma's not moving the needle. He just not. I liked him in college, but he's just not doing anything. But Devin Lloyd has the potential to be one of the best two-way linebackers in the NFL. We already got our tackling guy, our playing the run guy in Aluakin. Now Devin Lloyd, if he's able to play two ways like we know he can in coverage, get a couple sacks. I'm not asking him to have 10 sacks, but 4 to 5 sacks for a guy like him is really good. Maybe a couple picks, maybe around like 70 tackles. I think we might have to start looking at him and being like a Levante David type of linebacker for a long time. Because we had it with Telvin Smith, and then Telvin Smith went and did all that. We ain't even going to talk about that. That was nasty work what he did. But Devin Lloyd can be that type of guy, man. So I expect him to take a step up and take some pressure off of Aluakin for being amazing. I mean, I was one of the best trades we've ever done is bringing him in. And for people to, he still flies on the radar. A lot of people don't even consider him like a top 10 inside linebacker, but he is. Like, just by numbers wise, him and what's his name from the Seahawks? Older guy. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? Who's the linebacker for the Seahawks that was there? I know he plays for the Commanders now, I think.
Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wagner, yeah.
I thought that's who you're talking about. As soon as you said play for the Commanders, I was like, Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, Bobby Wagner and him just fly under the radar. I mean, Bobby not so much anymore. I think people know who he is, but they just don't get talked about in conversation like other people. They're not the sexiest players, man. They're just not. But they do. No. They get the job done, and isn't that at the end of the day what we want? Yeah. Absolutely. So I think Devin Lloyd can be dynamic in the middle of the field for us and win us a couple games. Like, I could see him getting an interception against, I know we played the Eagles, later in the season, but jumping up there, getting one off of Dallas Goedert and ending the game and finally getting our revenge from when they beat us a couple years before. Just to be that type of player, just to bring some excitement. And I think that's him. So Devin Lloyd and Evan Ingram for sure are the two impact guys for us.
Okay. Got you. So strengths and weaknesses of this team.
Strengths and weaknesses, I mean, consistency for sure. That's, but as far as, player position groups and things like that, the running back position, man, it just is what it is. Travis Etienne cannot do what he's been doing. We are just, what this reminds me of? This reminds me of how much the Panthers tried to kill Christian McCaffrey when he was there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I think he just does way too much, and he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. Wide receiving group. I mean, it looks like a strength by all the names that we got there. Joshua Cephas in the draft, Parker Washington we got last year, Devin Duvernay, we brought him in, but he's going to be special teams guy. Tim Jones, if can be dynamic if he stays healthy. And then you go through the top three: Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas Jr. But it's a lot of inexperience. The only consistent guy here was Christian Kirk. Gabe Davis has, everybody remembers him from that 200-yard performance in the playoffs against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And he's just been okay.
Yeah. He's a solid number 2. Like that's about it. Like he's
That's
not
it.
number 1. Yeah. So, one thing I'm gonna say though, on a side note, the answers you're giving, man, I fuck with the answers you're giving because like a lot of these questions, like people automatically go to player personnel, which you have gone, but you're giving good answers like depth. I asked you something earlier. You're like depth is a problem, consistency is a problem. Normally, people just go right to players, but you're giving some really in-depth answers on
I
here.
mean, it's true. Like, it's like when I look at just individual players, right? It's easy to say, I mean, for anybody to say Trevor Lawrence lost us that game, right? But at the end of the day, did Trevor Lawrence's stats say that he played really well to win the game and everybody else that didn't step up? Like, it's a team game at the end of the day. So, like, to me, just to understand, like, my thought process, a lot of people consider guys that get in the Hall of Fame like rings are a big deal. I don't think so. Because if you ask me, and here's a perfect conversation. If you ask me out of Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, and Phillip Rivers, who should get in the Hall of Fame first?
Eli,
I'm going Phillip Rivers.
are
I
you?
think I think Phillip Rivers is number one out of those guys in my brain.
See,
Then
my
Ben
thinking is this.
Roethlisberger, and then Eli.
My thinking is this. This I argue people all the time. Eli Manning top 10 in passing yards, top 10 in passing touchdowns. You can't tell the story of the NFL without Eli Manning. Like if aliens were to come down and say, "Tell me about everything in NFL," you can't skip over Eli Manning. I feel like I can skip over Phillip Rivers. I feel like I can tell the story of NFL without Phillip Rivers. But
Uh,
that has nothing to do with him winning or anything like that. But Eli's story, Eli has moments, man. Like, yeah, that matters in the grand scheme of things.
the thing about Phillip Rivers, I get it, man. Those Chargers teams are some son of a bitches. Like, remember in the early 2000s, we were talking about Chargers should be in the Super Bowl. I mean, it was like I think from like 2003 to like 2007 or something like that. People are like, "Yo, they're gonna be in the Super Bowl this year. They're gonna be in the Super Bowl." You remember the all
Yeah.
dark blue jerseys? That's when they had LaDainian Tomlinson with the crazy face mask. Like, everybody thought having Chris Conway and all those guys on that team, and then Antonio Gates started coming along. It just kept stacking and stacking and stacking. A lot of the times, man, it just was some of those players, Sean Merriman being there at one point. Like, just a lot of those times, it wasn't even Phillip's fault. But then when I compare stats between Eli, him, and Ben, he had less attempts than both of them and had more yards and more touchdowns.
Yeah. Look, I'm not this like all I'm saying. We're talking about two different things when it comes to measuring up. I'm talking about
Yeah.
moments, and you're bringing up the stats, which is great. If Phillip Rivers if it was judged off of how many kids you have, that MF would be in the Hall of Fame, bro.
I
Because
think
you
all
can't.
three
Yeah.
of them should be in. Like,
Oh,
to be honest,
absolutely. Yeah.
I think where you're talking about painting the story of the NFL, just from the draft, like there's a 30 for 30 on it. Just from the draft alone and where their careers ended up.
Yep.
Of course, Phillip never won a ring, but like nobody wanted to face the Chargers one-on-one on the weekend. You knew it was going to be a fucking battle when you went against them. Like, and because Phillip Rivers was a big part of that. I don't know, man. Just by stats alone, if those other two get in, that's the one argument that you can make for Phillip is like he did less and had more as far as statistics go out of both of them.
Who
When it comes down to that.
whose career would you want Trevor Lawrence to have of the three? Eli's, Ben's, or Rivers?
Ooh, I'm gonna say it like this because that's a great question. Not Phillips because we'll see in the next 10 years if Phillip actually gets in because it's going to be hard for him against the other two because of the Super Bowl thing, right?
Yeah.
And he's always going to be, was he Dan Marino? Nobody's Dan fucking Marino. Like, let's be honest. I think he was the best quarterback of all. Well, him and Drew Brees are like the best quarterbacks of all time to me. But that's my opinion. Now, if you talk about the rings and accomplishments and things like that, and who people like when you looked at their teams during the regular season, which one of those teams did you hate going against? And it was the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. Of
To be
course.
to be to be honest, so I'm gonna have to go with Ben Roethlisberger.
Okay.
Now, on the other side of that is Ben Roethlisberger was never called generational coming from Miami of Ohio. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's such a hard comparison. Neither was Eli. Eli had the name,
Yeah, the names.
but
Yeah.
he didn't play in Ole Miss. And then you got Phillip Rivers who played in North Carolina State. It's hard to compare that to Trevor Lawrence, but I would think, which career would I want him to have? I think if he had a Ben Roethlisberger type of career where he left behind a legacy too that the next generation has to step up to. The Giants have been like that since Eli left. The Chargers have been just fucking disappointing. But the Steelers are still the Steelers. Still got winning seasons and shit like that.
That's the Mike Tomlin effect.
I was gonna say that's a huge part of it too.
Yep,
That's a
why I
huge
keep
part
telling
of it.
everybody. It's, Mike Tomlin's in the same boat as when the Patriots had Bill Belichick. As long as you got those coaches, you can't count them out.
Yeah.
So you talked about the strengths of the Jaguars. Give me the weaknesses of this team. Besides
Man.
Trevor Lawrence.
What then we do weaknesses first? This would be strengths, right?
No, you gave me your strengths. Which you talked about the
Evan Ingram and Devin Lloyd.
yeah.
Okay.
No,
Yeah, okay.
No, that was impact player. For the strengths, you said consistency needs to be a strength.
Yep.
Okay. So you're saying inconsistency is the weakness? Is that what you're saying? Kind of go hand in hand?
Yeah, they go hand in hand for sure with us. Is the inconsistencies on just throughout the game, especially towards the end of the game. Like I'll say this about the media: the media is a huge weakness for us because the players that should be getting the credit, like the Travis Etienne's and the Evan Ingram, don't get that. It always comes down to Trevor Lawrence. You know what I'm saying? I don't. If you feel like okay, so we're not robots, right? So, people are like, you got to ignore the media, but me and you are not the same. Me and my wife are not the same. Me and my brothers are not the same. Me and my dad are not the same. Like everybody has their own individual way on how they deal with everything in life, and I'm sure it's the same way with that. Like Trevor Lawrence might not care shit about the media. Well, he just got paid, so he really don't care anymore. But Travis Etienne and Evan Ingram, when they hear, that's Travis's boy. At the end of the day, he's happy for him, but he's like, when you think that he would have liked to got the love at the end of that Chargers game in the playoffs for doing what he did, that little dump off pass, but going more than what we needed and got Riley Patterson in field goal range, and Riley Patterson barely made that fucking kick too. It's like, yeah, that dude deserved a lot of praise and he doesn't get it. So I think that's a big weakness is when you got your one star player and he gets, doesn't matter who it is, don't matter who you play, doesn't matter how he plays, they're going to find some way to insert Trevor Lawrence, got them that win or got them over the hump. And that shit ain't fair, man. Like we got not a Hall of Fame, but we got a Super Bowl winning coach that had the game plan. We got Travis Etienne, we got Evan Ingram, we got, Josh Allen destroys the Bills, when we play him. Like he destroys the Josh Allen. What we never get to talk about. That's why he changed. He can say what he wants, but that's why he changed his name. It started disrespect. I know he's got a whole story, but like, come on, bro.
Because I'm looking at Jacksonville Jaguars roster, and I'm like, Josh Hines Allen.
Yeah.
Like, when did that shit happen?
It happened like a week ago.
You're welcome for that too. You're welcome for that too, by the way, because the Giants, a lot of Giants fans wanted Josh Allen, and we passed up on him for fucking Daniel Jones. So you're welcome for that.
Oh yeah, but hey. Y'all got Brian Burns, bro.
Oh, yeah, trust me. I'm with it. And actually, we should be seeing that on Hard Knocks tonight. So don't forget, Hard Knocks is on live on Tuesdays. So we will be seeing that. All right, so winding down, I got about one more question for you.
Yeah, man.
Give me your realistic expectations of the Jaguars, and then just throw out a record.
Ooh, man. So we're going to talk about the official record. So I'm going to kind of give you a sneak peek.
Okay.
The last 10 games of – actually, if you look at the bye week and then look at the last 10 games of the season, I think that's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I'm talking about the 4 games before that and then the last 6 games. So that'll make 10. Starts off at Green Bay in week 8.
Mm-hmm.
Philly, Vikings, Detroit, Texans, Titans, Jets, Raiders, Titans, Colts. That's a tough road. So And then we play Miami and the Browns and the Bills and the Texans and Colts off the gate. Like,
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
realistically, I see 2 wins that I'm very confident in. It's Chicago and the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them,
Both starting rookie quarterbacks. Yep.
maybe the Jets. I'll throw 3 in there. Just depends on how the Jets do.
Oh,
Maybe.
Jet fans, yeah, they're gonna get on you with that one because they're talking Super Bowl over there.
Nah, they're not Super Bowl caliber yet. But I would give them 3 wins right now.
You're giving the Jaguars 3 wins. 3 wins.
That's if I'm not flipping a coin on these games because I think we're gonna have a lot of close games. So let's go ahead and give them 3 wins and put those to the side.
Okay.
Now,
Okay. Hold on. Okay. Miami. I haven't ran through the schedules on these yet, but I gotta look. We gotta do it. Miami.
Yeah.
So you got that as an L.
I got that as a L.
Cleveland L.
We play them at home. That's our first home game. And Cleveland's team is just so good outside
they're
of their
dogs over there. No pun intended. They're dogs over there.
And they got the deepest quarterback room, so somebody's going to step up. But
Miles Garrett's the problem.
I will say that we'll give us a win on that one when they're trying to figure out. They got a lot of new pieces on that team, so you know how teams kind of start out slow and then they just super speed. The Bills are a wounded animal too.
They took a huge step back this year.
But I still give them the win. Give them the win.
Houston.
I think we're playing in Buffalo too. Yeah, on a Monday night. Yep, that's Buffalo's.
Back to back. Yeah. And then a short week on Houston. So
and Houston,
I could see that 2 L's.
Yeah, that's 2 L's right there.
The Colts.
We always split with them, so I'll give us a win there.
That's a split. So you already got yourself at 2 wins right there.
Yeah, and we gave Chicago us a win.
3. New England.
New England. Oh yeah. I didn't even see New England there. Yeah,
4,
that's 5. That's 5.
4. Oh, no, I got it at 4. What'd you say the other wins were?
Let's see.
Oh, you did
Miami,
say Cleveland. Okay, you did say
Cleveland.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah. Green Bay, they're good.
Loss.
Yeah, Philly's good.
Vikings win.
You got
6.
Vikings 6. Detroit's good.
Yeah, we're getting our ass kicked before the bye week.
Houston
on my birthday. Texans
hopefully
win.
they'll win for you.
Texans win.
Tennessee, y'all could beat Tennessee at home, man.
I don't see
on the road. Y'all could beat Tennessee on the road.
All right, we'll give them a split. All
right.
Okay.
So where does that put you at? 7.
So that's 7 wins.
The Jets.
The Jets 8.
Okay, Raiders.
And then the next 3 we're losing for sure.
I don't know. I think y'all could take the Raiders. The Raiders are kind of they're in flux right now. I feel like they're kind of like.
Well, here's why I say the Raiders will win, because they got one thing that's able to beat Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence is like tied number 1 for the most fumbles for a quarterback over the past 3 seasons. They got the defensive line that's going to beat the shit out of him. Yeah. Depending on who the quarterback is at Las Vegas, that's always a big question. But like, I think their team got way better.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Titans, we're gonna split with them, and then we play at Indianapolis towards the end of the season, so they're probably gonna rest their starters because I think Indianapolis is gonna be a playoff team. So I gotta say 8 wins, 1 game less than last year.
Yeah, you said 3 at first. I was like, I don't think so. Not from, if y'all had a 3-win season, somebody gotta get fired.
Yeah, I'm saying though, the rest of those games to me are a coin flip.
Yeah.
I'll throw New England in there because I said 4. Let me throw New England. So I'll say 4 wins. Mm-hmm. That's our floor.
Mm-hmm.
I think our ceiling is 8. I don't see us making it past that, man.
Yeah. All right.
I know it's disappointing, but like, I just don't see. We didn't move the needle enough, man. We just didn't. I mean, we just awarded a mediocre quarterback all this money. We're about to build this new stadium that we're gonna have to get out of for the next 2 or 3 years. So this is gonna be the last year at Everbank Stadium. Man, shout out to Max. Hopefully he makes it to a game before they jet out. But I know he lives in Jacksonville.
As a matter of fact, y'all going against the Packers. Where's that? Is that if that's in Jacksonville, y'all should go.
It's in Jacksonville. Yeah, I might have to hit him up.
Yeah,
Tickets at $73 right now. I've actually never been to Everbank.
Okay.
I've been to so many stadiums. I just haven't been, we suck, man. And I want to go see when we win, but hey, it is what it is. It's a piece of history. They're about to knock it down.
I know Max has a good friend named Spence that's a huge Jaguars fan as well. So he's gonna watch this video and be like, damn, he might agree, he might disagree. He'll be in the comment section, but we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. But awarding mediocrity is gonna be on the thumbnail. So just because that's what you keep saying, so awarding mediocrity.
We did, man. I don't know how else to slice it. We awarded mediocrity, and it's frustrating.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's frustrating, man.
But look, man, I appreciate you for popping on, man. Tell the people where they can find you at.
Hey, man, I tell everybody this. Go to Google, type in East Coast Gridiron, all this shit will pop up. I guarantee it. That's, there's, if you don't want to subscribe or, like or whatever, that's fine. If you want to follow us on like Instagram or TikTok or one of those other sites, that's fine too. I've been doing a whole bunch of like helping some high school kids out now. So, but we put out content like every day. Like it's always something for you. NFL, college. We do the UFL and the XFL in the springtime. Draft season is like when we really go all the way in. I do like a documentary type series that I always work on from time to time. So there's something for everybody, man. But
Yeah.
I appreciate you having me on, man. It's always fun shitting on the Jaguars when I get a chance.
No problem, man. Like I said, you're approaching 4K, man, doing some big things over there. So everybody, make sure you go over there, subscribe to East Coast Gridiron, and subscribe to the Ace Avenue as we are covering behind the teams, trying to knock out all the teams in the NFL before the start of the season. So make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys. As always, thank you for tuning into the Ace Avenue. I am yours, truly the Ace. Adios.
See you guys.
Good shit, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, brother.